thank you everyone for coming. The reason we decided to have a meeting with everyone here is we assume everybody's gonna have projects before this deal's over, and we thought it'd be easier just to meet all together and do a little brainstorming. The ARPA funding is a nightmare, is what we're finding out. The City of Choteau approached us about some funding from ARPA that I didn't even realize, and then I inadvertently shot an email off to Mako that probably was not worded very well, but it sure got a response very quickly. So with that, we decided that there's 3 pots of money with the ARPA. One goes directly to the county, and there's a second pot, and that's only for water and sewer
And
projects.
broadband, yeah. I think just
broadband.
I think broadband is.
So today we're talking about the second pot of money. It's $865,000 and some dollars.
And you have to have a match that goes with that too.
And the county has the ARPA funds, but we have no way to expend it. So our thought was to reach out to the cities and the districts and see what your needs were and what your thoughts are, and we'll eventually try to come up with a plan to divvy it up in a fair and honest way, open, transparent. So that's what we hope to accomplish today. My understanding is that the proposals can be started July 15th, and they can run through January 31st of 2023. And so we've got time, so we want to do it right. The Mako's main thing was that we will be on the hook for the money to be expended correctly with their guidelines. So we'll need an MOU with every district and every town. And their suggestion was to have the towns write the MOUs and have the county attorney approve them.
I was just on a webinar end of last week, and they're going to give their Anna Miller from the NRC said that they're going to come up with some templates to help us with those MOUs. So we're not coming out, not just trying. So we'll be able to.
MOUs, explain to me what that is.
Memorandum of Understanding.
What's that?
Memorandum of Understanding. It's
Okay.
just a business agreement. It's a basic business agreement.
Basically what we have with the sheriff's office, with
we've
the
got-
justice of the peace, basically.
Yeah, it just outlines how your businesses are going to deal with each other.
But that would be very helpful.
Yeah,
because
pretty much just explain what you're gonna do with the money and
because it'll be
project's about.
worded
And
as
we'll have some to go by.
that when we have to report it, they'll word it so that it's correct before we have to, and we'll just, it sounded like fill in the blanks with the numbers and things like that. So.
Can we report this directly to the commissioners?
To the county, yes.
Which is you.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that those templates will already have legal input in
I would
putting
assume-
them together.
I would assume so, yes. If they'll have their legal look at them before our legal will look at them. Before it comes out there, that's just since it doesn't even come out, so they were trying to we had to turn in our applications by the 15th for the competitive part of this funding. So they're waiting till after that to do this.
And that goes back to the earlier comment, you talked about the range at which you have to disperse the funds. There's several around the table that have to submit our competitive grant applications on the 15th. Okay, they're due on the 15th. And so part of our applications include, consideration of local match.
So there's ARPA funds that are due on the 15th?
The applications for the
application is-
competitive grant is due on the 15th.
We have three pots of money. So there is the direct trip from the Treasury that actually we all got from the state, and then there's this pot B that is the minimum allocation that you can't even apply for basically until after the 15th. But there's another pot of money in it. The competitive pot of money. We have to have that submitted by the 15th. Something that I was gonna wait to ask this, but they said that even if we had a letter from the commissioners not stating how much you were going to give us, but that you were going to work with us
Right.
to, by the 15th, we are going to work this out, you know, you're with,
So did they work somewhere just to try to make this?
yes, as hard as
You guys get
possible.
that feeling
Well-
too, or is it just me?
And, you know, when we put in there, you know, part of the county's allocation as local match, whatever you may or may not decide to do for each entity, a 3-sentence letter that just says the commissioners have, you know, voted to allocate, you know, and you can give a range, you know, from 50 to 150,000, you know, just something like that. Just something so that when we put a number in our table, we put an asterisk next to it, they understand, okay, there's something's committed, but, you know, maybe off a few
Can
thousand.
be
Yeah.
fairly vague.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
It's the
yeah.
government.
Yeah, they just want something, if you don't have something there, that you won't score well,
Yeah.
because they think you're just
Oh, okay.
This
Yeah.
just has to be a simple letter
very
by
simple.
tomorrow, correct?
The 15th,
By
but tomorrow's the
Thursday.
14th.
Yeah.
Yeah, by Thursday.
Well, tomorrow would be.
That's tomorrow.
Tomorrow would be really good, because
Yeah.
I give a couple days for,
So luckily, we had a public meeting before the 15th, our regular meeting's on the 15th, but we can do that today.
Yeah.
like I said, I don't know that it didn't sound like it even had to have a number.
No, it just
Just
You qualified or you didn't,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, you know, the county's pot is 800,000. There were, you know, 4 or 5 deemed qualifying entities, and we're probably gonna distribute amongst those, and you know, kind of leave it vague, but
Yeah.
at least the applicant can say, I got something, I'm not
So
sure
they
what
know
it
that
is.
you're serious.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
I think Fairfield, Tammy, our clerk's already sent a letter to the commissioners.
not,
Well,
We got a letter from
So that's,
Irving.
this is adequate for what we're to,
no.
Well, no, we have
We
to,
have to send you.
Like a notice of award.
Yeah, they just have to
Yeah, we
respond.
just have to reply to your letter.
so you can put it in your grant application.
Right.
So, that's part of the reason we wanted to do this meeting before the 15th, because we were figuring that that would be needed, so I guess, do we need a motion and a second to write those letters to the
I don't
grant
think so.
applications, or do you think we can just write the?
I think we can just
letters?
write them. Because, I mean, this is.
What's your thoughts, Mel?
I think for clarity's sake, especially when we've got auditors going back to meetings,
It
we
was
should make
at
a
a public
motion.
meeting and a motion
Well, I would make the motion that we
that we supply the letters.
supply the letter with acceptance but no dollar amount.
I'll
Yeah,
second.
you'll have a lot of time to evaluate that.
Yeah. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yeah, that was kind of why we wanted to have this meeting before the 15th, because all this ARPA stuff is really not clear, so we,
And it's tougher for you guys because you don't have water and sewer to deal
no, and
with.
we know we're not gonna have it, but on the
Yeah.
other hand, we don't wanna
Send
extend
it
money
back.
and then have
Yeah.
to,
So you,
we have
so,
2 deals. We don't wanna have $800,000 that we just tell the treasurer, you know, we just don't even want any of it here in Teton County, because all of your city citizens are county citizens too, so we've got to.
I think there are 3 exceptions within the county to what Chris just said. I think Ross is sitting here for one of the reasons.
It's a district public water
Right.
system.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, it qualifies.
It qualifies though.
Bynum would be another,
Yep, and Tri-County.
and Tri-County would be the third. So there are 3
Yeah.
exceptions to that. But yes, by and large, the county doesn't provide that kind of
Yeah.
infrastructure.
Yeah,
so for clarity, you're gonna write the letters and they'll be available to us to get with our applications?
Yes.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, they'd be on our letterhead
yeah, that's what I
to
mean.
each
Send it to Paul.
community
So-
or district.
Oh, yeah, I will, but I
Jody,
just
do
wanted
they
to.
have, do you have a
make sure-
template or
Commitment of
something?
funds to be direct.
Right, I do. I think I can email you one. It's got dollar amounts in there, but I'll email it to you. You don't have to put that in, but I do have one. I think that I just got it and I forgot to bring it. So yes, I'll email it to you.
Email it.
so the,
I'll email it to Paula.
Yeah.
Okay.
the procedures we're following.
I thought so.
Fairfield sent a letter to you, what you have
Yep,
there.
I got it right
You're
here.
gonna respond to that letter,
Yeah,
correct?
Yeah,
right.
yep.
Then what's procedure then? We fill out the application. Will there be an application with that
You should
letter?
have an application.
Colette is doing your application.
Colette?
Yeah, your
Oh,
engineers
okay.
usually do it. if
Yeah,
they're
she's
your
doing your application.
Administrators type thing.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right.
Really.
Only
put
because
on-
she's doing mine too.
I'll put on my other hat, Tri-County is not gonna be submitting.
Okay, because that was one of the questions. So
Yeah.
they're not going to be submitting?
No, we're in good shape.
Okay.
A seamless transition.
Oh, okay.
A seamless transition.
Okay, and I can call the Bynum district. I know some people on that board.
They may not even be aware.
They could very well be not. I mean, this whole deal is just it's a strange way it's been put together. So we will get you those letters tomorrow.
Thank you.
We'll email them to your offices.
So you have an idea, our article in camp tomorrow now about what we're gonna do with our ARPA dollars and what any match we get from the county is going to do. We laid that out at our last city council meeting.
It was kind of in the letter too, I believe, wasn't it?
For the most part, I think we added a couple
Added
things
some more
We
stuff.
did, we added some additional to it,
and
because
removed one.
removed some and added some. They told us to swing big or go home, so
We did.
yeah, this will be a legacy project.
Well, if you get funded, why, I mean,
Yeah.
now's the time to do it if it'll
Yeah.
work.
Joe, once the letters have gone out and they can go ahead and do their competitive grant applications, then what is the process for them to come back to the commissioners and ask for a specific amount of funding out of that $865,000?
What I would like to do, and we haven't really talked about this, but I would like to do the same thing we're doing today. All sit down together at a public meeting and go through all of everybody's applications, transparent, and come to a consensus of what we should do.
What
Because
needs to be
if we
awarded.
worked with each individual entity, it's gonna be really difficult, and I would rather do it. It might be harder to spend a day doing that, but I think that possibly everybody might be happy when they walk out the door. If we start doing it single entity with single entity, I don't think we'll,
Yeah, it'd be harder that way.
yeah. I
This
don't
way-
know.
You're gonna make everybody mad.
And normally that's what we do,
Yeah,
but
right.
I just think it would be,
Yeah, exactly.
if we can sit down at a table and come to consensus and discuss among ourselves why we think it should be this way or that way, I think it's the best way to do it. That's my feeling. Would you guys agree with that?
I do, and,
Yeah.
and the other side of that is if there's a match, that a minimum, and just using numbers, if we gave one 100,000 and they actually needed 115, I mean, there's no
We can
reason
sit
that
down
we
all
can't
together and look at everybody's
juggle
needs
to make
and
it work.
get everybody's perspective and hopefully come up with a good plan. That's what I would like to do.
So, Joe, you're gonna want them to bring your project requests to that meeting.
Yeah, I assume it's gonna be sometime later on this summer, when everybody gets everybody's projects ironed out and the costs and all that stuff, and then we can all sit down together and hammer out an answer that's fair for everybody.
Well, and some of us may not get it on the first round, but because then they're gonna tell us what we did wrong after we submit one time.
Well, and there's always, it's just like that CARES funding, they're probably gonna broaden out their,
Yeah, and we'll get it then, like in January, I think there's talking, then there's going to be round 2.
yeah,
So
it's gonna be a long process.
yes, it is.
We have a MMI meeting on Thursday, which I'm sure they will address what's coming down in the future as well.
So is it fair to say that broadband is not gonna really play a part in this whole thing?
I believe Three Rivers has covered that pretty adequately.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep, that's my
Yeah, I
assumption
just
as
didn't
well.
wanna make assumptions.
No,
Well, that's what I'm doing, but I mean, they've covered the county pretty well.
Yeah, the dollars we're after are specifically designated for water and sewer. Has nothing to do with broadband. There are broadband, there's availability for those in a different part of the,
And there is actually another pot of money that is for broadband as well.
And that goes through the county still? I mean, where Three Rivers would have to come to you for dollars?
The first allocation that comes to the county was for broadband, water and sewer, health departments,
Public se-
COVID-related expenses, and
That was the pot A treasure.
and that's the one that we're currently trying to finesse into a building for the county. Whether that happens or not, but the Mako's suggestion on that was if it follows the way the CARES Act funding was, it was really tight at the beginning. Then when they realized that it was too tight and they couldn't get projects, they broadened up the requirements. So they're telling us right now on that first pot of money to wait, and hopefully the requirements will broaden out to where that'll work for that.
Well, you only got half the money anyway.
Yeah, get
You
half
don't
the
get
money.
the other half for another year.
Yep.
One thing I just want to remind everybody though, you guys are all in one group of Three Rivers and all this other stuff, but you know, there's another side to the county that isn't. Dutton has no Three Rivers. They have, and they're different electrical, we're Northwestern Energy and all that stuff, so it is a little bit different for us. I'm not saying, like when you say most of the county is covered, there is still quite a little bit out there after the Teton Bridge.
So who provides the phone service out there?
A lot of well, CenturyLink has a lot of people. Verizon is one thing, but there's
But that's not,
that's not broadband. But
or
I
it's
just
not
meant
landlines.
Yeah.
right. But then there's Hughes. I've seen Hughes and things like that.
Well, yeah.
Too.
Teton Wireless, you know.
Yeah,
So there
that
is
wouldn't be
there is.
broadband either.
No. Who
But
actually
it
provides
sounds
the
like
city?
CenturyLink is the other.
CenturyLink, probably.
CenturyLink.
Yeah.
Oh, CenturyLink.
Yes,
Okay.
CenturyLink.
And trust me, a corporation that size, they've got their hands all over this at some corporate
I
level.
would think so. that
Well,
they would
I'm
be
just
aware
I
of it.
just
Yeah.
don't want to be lumped in that Three Rivers is that away because
Right.
Yeah,
it stops
that's good to
over
bring
there.
up. We don't want to leave anybody out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
that's good to bring
the
up.
other side of that, again, I mean, to add what Chris is saying, so that company may be all over it. But if those dollars aren't going to Teton County, then that doesn't help Teton County a
No.
whole bunch.
And I don't know how you get to.
Right,
CenturyLink
I don't
without-
either.
Well,
That's a
I-
whole
You
other
don't.
can of worms.
I
You
was
don't.
contacted pretty early on by a private entity for ARPA funds, and I told them that I thought that the funds that we have, by the time we get done doing the public entities, I thought we would just restrict it to that unless we have anything left over, and then I'd get back to them. But I really don't see anything being left over after reading Chris's letter.
No.
I don't think, I mean,
I just don't think it's realistic. And I think that the public funds would affect more people in a positive way, so.
But in all of the, I guess I feel like being able to see where broadband is and isn't in Teton County would be an important
well, that's a different
piece
pot
of
of money, though.
information.
That's a different pot of money.
Right, but one that they ought to be considered, maybe not from the city standpoint,
No,
but from
but
the county
there's-
standpoint.
There's also another pot of broadband money that's through the ARPA money, but it's not, it's through the state. The counties don't get it.
Yeah.
There's, the cities and the counties have money that's been allocated through this House Bill
632.
632. But then the state retained some of that money as well in this, and some of that goes, they gave some of it to us, which also was broadband. But then there was also some, if I'm not mistaken, that went directly broadband through, on that bill that's just at the state level. They don't give it there, it's not for us.
But I guess my point is, if there were any time to stand up and say, we're not getting broadband, why aren't, there's monies available, why aren't we? Now would be the time to do it.
Oh, most
Most
definitely.
definitely.
But I don't think
There you
those
go,
answers are, those
Susan.
answers are gonna, and they're not gonna get answered at this level, they're gonna get answered well above.
Or-
Gianforte
Well,
would,
It's gotta
I
start
think that-
somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't there a huge effort many years ago? I mean, to get everybody fiber optic. I mean, that was back with the last senator.
Conrad Burns.
Well, not Conrad, but the one out west. Anyway, we were one of the first people to get fiber optic where I live, 7 miles southeast of Powell, in the middle of nowhere. And, 3 rivers. I mean, and broadband, I guess, it's not exactly the same as fiber optic, but I mean, it seems like fiber optics being pushed on the federal level everywhere in Teton County, is it not?
We
No,
got it in the
no.
Blackleaf area.
No, it is
before.
not.
Truly, it's
You
not.
can't afford fiber optics, I mean.
It goes back to CenturyLink.
Yeah,
Oh, well, because like I say,
Yeah.
I have my neighbors are a half mile either way, and then there's miles with no neighbors, and everybody's got fiber optic.
You had fiber optic long before any of the communities
but
did.
that was still
Yeah,
Three
I
Rivers.
know.
Mhm.
It was 3
But,
rivers,
but,
but we were the
Conrad
first.
doesn't have it
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
I mean, and it depends on your community size.
I mean, if I were to try and paint a line, I would probably use the interstate and say, that side of the interstate, no broadband. This side, yeah.
And then
Sparse, because
You could
every
probably
place that
go
has
to-
fiber optics or broadband, you have to pay for it.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
could probably go to
you have to
TL
come up with the moolah.
Mhm.
does your school,
There's no
did
such
they run
thing
it
as
to the
free
school?
broadband.
They had to do it
Box.
here.
Run it to the school?
There's no such thing as free broadband, no matter what you do.
Yeah.
No.
There's nothing free.
Yeah.
Or you pay for it like anything else.
Yeah.
Everybody that has a 463 number east of Dutton is on Three Rivers.
Yeah.
And there's a big chunk of them. The town of Dutton's screwed by, CenturyLink. They just get hammered.
And further on out.
Yeah, does Power have it? Power Three Rivers Community?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they are, because I can,
Yeah,
Homewood.
right.
Yeah.
We're just like you, Northwestern Energy, just as in the city show.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you at least got natural gas, we don't.
We don't either.
We just pay
The
for
whole
their
Fairfield
taxes.
bench don't have natural gas, so it's not like that's the only thing.
Yeah, right.
But this broadband, Paul, is a whole different bucket of bolts.
Yeah.
We don't have time to even try to make an effort on that. We're looking at small communities, cities, to try to get those particular things done. We've had bills in the legislature to offer tax incentives all the way out to eastern Montana, because that's where they're sucking air. All the way east to Shelby, actually. So, I mean, that money, what is it, 350 million? It won't go very far.
Well, and I guess it's more just to be aware that, broadband isn't all the way across Teton County. Just something, to keep in mind.
Good point to bring up, Paul. So what do we need to cover today? Just the letters, is that the main thing? And then I'll reach out to Bynum Water District to make sure that they're not missing something.
So will you email the non-committing committal letters?
Yeah.
The non-committing.
I've got enough to tell Jody to email the non-committing.
From the 3 people that should be committed?
Yes.
I'll do the non-committal template. I'll get that to
Yeah,
Paula
if
this
you
afternoon.
just send it to Paul and I'll sit down with her tomorrow and we'll
Okay.
get it out and then we'll email it back to all of you so you can get your grants out. That's the main thing that needs to be done right now, I gather.
Sounds like.
You're not gonna reference a project, are you? 'Cause
I think, depending on what the template, if we could just reference the city of Choteau
the recipient,
and
okay.
the Greenfields Irrigation
GID,
District, the city of
yeah.
Dutton. Just enough to get the check on the,
Yeah.
Yeah,
on the
Yeah.
application.
We'll just explain that he will get some funds, but
keep it
Specify as to
simple
which
As
one.
vague as you can.
vague as possible.
Yep. That's what lawyers always tell me. Don't paint yourself in a corner.
Right.
Okay, so, and does everybody agree this is the best process in the future? We'll just all get together and hammer it out and,
In this future meeting, are you looking at like 15-minute blocks for each person to present their, or you want something submitted ahead of time? Or,
I think just bring your stuff to the meeting and we'll just do it all in front of the public and we'll just go around and have a round table and then we'll just sit and discuss how to equitably furnish it to everybody.
And if you could have a copy for each one of us. So that
sure.
Yeah,
We
Very good.
can follow along.
so if that plan is okay with you guys, then we'll get the letters out tomorrow and we'll keep in touch about this ARPA stuff and we'll set up another meeting when And I'll probably, or we will probably have to have input from you guys when you think the timing is right, because we don't have water and sewer, and we're not doing the application, so if we can get input from you, we'll set up the next meeting and just give us a little head time. We need 48 hours to.
And ours, like I say, we'll get you the copies, but you can read about ours in the Panther tomorrow. It's pretty well laid out there.
Okay.
So Joe, do you envision making dollar decisions at those meetings? Or are you like taking in information and then?
If we don't feel we have enough information, then we'll just have another meeting. I think that we need to make those decisions in front of everybody. My theory is that if you do that, then you have the input right there when the decision's being made. And like I said, if everybody leaves the room at least not irritated, it'll be more successful. I just think we've got to do it as one group, come up with a consensus.
You know you're gonna end up with more ask than more available. I know that. And
I'm shocked.
I know, and that's why. I mean, I
Well,
understand
and
that. And
I've anticipated that,
Yeah.
but that's where I think if everybody's got if everybody can give us some information, and if we can all sit down and agree,
yeah, it all helps.
here's why, and
Yeah.
here's what I think we can come up with a.
I admire you guys doing this. Like I said, everything helps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's no doubt about it. Any dollar that any of these us as entities can get
yeah.
is a dollar that helps us and our tax base, our constituents not have to come up with more rate.
Yeah.
So
I have a comment. What if, for example, a lot of us are asking or going after competitive grants, and we submit 15th, and within 6 weeks or so, they have a preliminary ranking of who gets, whatever. What if by that period of time you find out that some of the people around the table, maybe their projects didn't get funded? Would that affect your decision?
I think we have a meeting and discuss it, and I assume it would.
Yeah,
But
certainly.
Because you
Like
look at
Jody
the
said, there's
viability of
gonna-
a project and you
Yep.
say, well, only 3 of the 5 people actually got successful projects, so maybe the pool gets winnowed down.
and
But
then
there's
round
going
two,
to be
then round two
Round
comes,
two.
and
Sure.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna be
In
so
January,
easy.
at
I'm
least
just looking
one
forward
round.
to the whole
I
process.
Oh,
Yeah,
All right.
because if there's a round 2 and you whittle it down to 3 projects, then what happens to the other 2 guys?
Do you hang on to that pool of money then, assuming that they would eventually have a successful project?
I have not given that a lot of thought.
Just
Thank you
somebody
for putting me on spot. I discussed with these guys the thought of just going by census and divvying it up that way. And if we have a meeting and we can't come to an agreement, maybe we'll end up trying that, but I would rather just sit down with everybody and try to hammer out
Yeah.
something that works for everybody.
Yeah, I think that would.
I mean, that would
That's
be a
called
last
baby
resort.
splitting.
Yeah, it would be a last resort.
It can be real simple, just give everybody what they want and they'll all be
There you
happy.
go. Why didn't I think of that?
we need the whole 5 million.
I don't know, probably no. We just asked RD for more
I
grant.
didn't catch it.
No, I was just trying to figure out.
He's-
I'm just trying to figure out. My mind's already working to figure out A, how we do this. B, if when it's all said and done, if we have a shortage of what we need, how we as a city are going to figure this one out.
We would go
Back to our rural
back to
development.
rural development and ask for more, I don't know, grant or not, is where we would go. So,
I still think though, if everybody's at the table and we have those discussions, it probably isn't gonna make everybody happy, but they'll be less irritated than they would be if we just do it.
But everybody understands then, we all
Yeah,
know the
well,
circumstances.
Yeah, and I wholly understand that. That's why I have option B in the back. I'm forming option B in the background.
Yeah,
Because to be honest with you, I knew Ross would be here. It didn't dawn on me till this morning that you'd be here.
Well, we've got some unique issues and obviously on the competitive side, we qualify under both water and sewer
Yep.
aspects of the application. we were fortunate to get support letters and board resolutions from the town of Fairfield, the community of Power, and Tri-County Water District, because they realized that if we had a catastrophic failure on our PSC, our Pitchkin Supply Canal, there would be no water for a year, and the bench would dry up. All the groundwater wells would dry up. Fairfield's wells would dry up. Power's source of water would dry up, and Tri-County water's source would dry up. So it is.
Oh yeah, and it was myopic on my part not to think that, and then this morning I was sitting there and I go, GID's gonna be here.
Yeah.
For some clarity, you mentioned something about when we were all here and you said we could base it on population or populace.
I said
That
that
bothers
as a
me.
last resort. I mean,
that
that's assuming
really
that we
bothers
can't.
me.
It's not a fair way to do it. I mean,
No, and also we're cities in a town, they're districts and whatever.
yeah.
So I mean, that really bothers me because right then that puts the town of Dutton at the end of the ladder. And as far as districts and
Unless Bynum applies, then they'd be at the end of the ladder.
they are not an incorporated town.
They're district.
They're
They're water
Water
district.
district.
I'm talking
So
town.
they're a public entity.
The towns do get a check, the districts get nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're
But
at the
still,
bottom.
what I'm saying
You're
is,
already
when
at
you
the
mentioned
bottom.
populace,
No, I'm with you on that
Yeah,
part.
I
The
mean,
census
that-
distribution was gonna
I don't-
mess us all up on
Yeah,
the
that's
inside.
That would be just a
That'd be worth the
solution
meeting.
if we were just to get nothing accomplished.
Yeah.
This is gonna get interesting. Who's at the bottom here? Come on.
well, you
I can
have
tell
to,
you, I think Teton County is because we're the ones that have to make the decision.
you have to
True,
think that
they
this
push
money
you guys.
is there to be used, for, like you said, for all the people, the best way that they can.
Yep.
And none of us are gonna get all that we want. I mean, Santa Claus doesn't come every day. But to say populace, that right off the bat, that's waving a bad
Like when
flag.
I said it,
Well,
that would be a last
That
resort.
was the last
Okay.
resort. But
Because
the biggest
that's-
thing that we want everybody to understand is that we have to go by the guidelines
Yep.
that
Sure.
ARPA has. If we don't follow that, then it puts us on the hook to pay it back. And I don't wanna be the one to put the taxpayers on the hook,
Well,
so.
and that, the way that NACO is saying is we would submit these dollars, but it'll be invoiced to where we know that it was spent correctly. I mean, that's just because the county has to protect itself from not having to pay back the money.
Yeah.
And the cities are under the same, so.
So
It's gonna be
Jody, I
really
think you'll know,
complicated.
what's that lovely acronym stand for?
American
Rescue plan.
Rescue Plan, something, Act.
Yep.
Thank you.
And if you want me to send all of the webinars that they have, like, so you know all about it, they have like 3 a week.
And they're all
And they change
recorded.
their mind
I've gone
every
to- I've
time.
gone to a couple meetings and
Yeah.
I've done enough to where I don't wanna know anymore.
Well, they change their mind every meeting.
It's evolving.
Yeah.
Evolving.
Yeah.
That's what they say, every meeting, that's evolving. Yeah, it's evolving, all right.
They're learning, I guess, as well.
Well, they don't know, yeah, exactly. I mean, I can't imagine what you guys went through in the last, here's all this money now, make a plan. But you guys need to go home in 2 weeks
Yeah, here's 20 days to make a plan.
and make everybody happy.
Doesn't happen.
I know.
So I guess where we go from here is we'll wait until we hear back from the cities and the districts.
We'll be
There's-
well, I'll email the template to Paula this afternoon and
Yep.
And it'll be a while. What is it? They've got 6 weeks to the preliminary, then it goes to a board. And after it goes to the board, then it goes to governor like in December.
Yeah, it's,
So it's a
Hurry up and wait.
yeah.
Okay, so what we need from you is if something comes up and we need to do something. If the deadline changes or something,
48 hours minimum.
yep, we need to have 48 hours and we'll just call a special meeting if we need to. So we don't miss something.
all right.
Thank you guys for doing this.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Well, we,
Every little bit of help.
like I
yes.
said, the citizens of Teton County deserve us to do the right thing, so we're gonna do it. And we'll get those letters out tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thanks
again
everyone
for
for
coming.
coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna carry this one to shoot out.